The Legislative Citizen Commission on Minnesota Resources is tasked with funding environmental projects using the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund. Last session, roughly 30% of the budget went to the fight against invasive species. And joining me right now is a member of the LCCMR, Senator John Hoffman, to talk about their work. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me here. It's a fun topic and a good topic and an important topic.
Agreed. And Senator, let's begin with last session. Again, roughly 30% of the budget, of the $38 million budget, was used to fight invasive species. Why did the LCCMR believe that this issue warranted such a large amount?
Well, you know, 7 priorities exist within the LCCMR, and one of them happens to be specifically the aquatic invasive species, AIS, as a priority. When you look at Minnesota in general, I mean, we're the land of 10,000 lakes. You know, lots of ponds, I suppose, too, but our lifeline in Minnesota for years has been about the outdoors. Here we are in Minnesota, and what are we doing this summer is looking at what's important for us in the state. Well, water's an important piece for us, and I'm just going to focus in on the aquatic invasive species side of it. You know, we see this Eurasian milfoil taking over our lakes, and you see the LCCMR through its money to organizations such as the University of Minnesota, where they get this little boll weevil and it chews down the Eurasian milfoil and it keeps that at bay. Well, you know, you also get an issue with the little sunfish that happen to like the boll weevil. So, you know, you're dealing with everything that has to do with water, everything that has to do with Minnesota. And I think a priority that we all share a same outcome for, which is the outdoors.
And yet zebra mussels have been found just recently as July in the Whitefish chain of lakes and in Latoka near Alexandria. So the fight is obviously far from over. There's another $29 million from the LCCMR that could be available, beginning July 1st of 2014. Do you think invasive species will warrant a big chunk of that cash again?
Oh, absolutely. I think you're starting to see people realize, and I know one of the site visits the LCCMR did was up Mille Lacs, and they looked at some of the issues that concerning there. Well, downstream from Mille Lacs is the Rum River that meets where the Mississippi River happens to be Anoka, and then into Champlin. And you know, you got some last stop not only for the zebra mussel but also for, you know, the big-headed carp, which of course is big head, and the flying fish that
the Asian carp.
the silver and the big-headed. Yep, correct.
So do you think, given the spread of these invasive species, aquatic in particular, do you think that more money is the answer, or is it more education? Is it a combination of both? Obviously there's no silver bullet, but what direction would you like to see the LCCMR and the DNR go?
Well, you know, we tried last year to get a couple of the decal, which is an education. I mean, it's both components. You need to have some enforcement, but you also need to educate folks not only from Minnesota, but folks coming in from out of state. You know, what are you carrying? You see that all the time. Good public information that's out there. I think if you beef that up so it becomes just an everyday conversation like we're having right here, then I think you're going to get to the bottom line, which is you know, the outcome or the goal, getting less and less of those aquatic invasive species, specifically, like you talked about, the zebra mussels carrying along.
DNR Commissioner Tom Landwehr said that he believed Minnesota's prairies are in dire need of some restoration. It's the area he thinks Minnesota is actually failing in its quest to preserve the environment. Is this on the radar at all for the LCCMR?
You know, my short tenure, there's a couple of projects out there that are connected with that I've seen, and we'll be interested to see the 2014, some of the RFPs that went out, and folks that are going to be requesting dollars to see if there are some prairie stuff. You know, there's some trust land pieces out there too that folks are being involved in, and I think he's probably correct. You know, when you focus so much on waters and streams, you know, you lose sight of the prairie out there. So trying to find a balance, I think, is going to be an important case for 2014.
Okay, Senator, I want to ask you, Commissioner Landwehr also stated that shortly after his appointment, he was asked, why does the environment matter? And he stated, the natural environment is our goose-laying golden egg, especially in Minnesota. So based on what you've seen, site visits and such, do you believe Minnesota's golden egg is still gold, or do you think it's tarnished a bit?
You know, it's still golden, but I think we tried to write some priorities here and have had lacked that for previous years. When you look at 40% of our lakes and streams are in dire need of some clean water, when you look at our Clean Water Accountability Act that I was the chief author on this year, it helped get to those point sources of pollution and help the DNR and the Board of Soil and Water and the pollution control agencies work collaboratively in order to address some of those issues that are out there. And so I think we're still the golden goose, but the golden egg or the golden goose, or however he states it. But I think we need to refocus where our priorities are in Minnesota. And you know what? Make the investment. Why can't we make more of an investment in that? I'm okay with that.
Senator,
we owe it to our future.
And I didn't mean to cut you off there.
I'm sorry about that.
No, absolutely not. Senator John Hoffman, we certainly hope to get you back on the show closer to session. I have a feeling you'll be authoring some new legislation.
It'll be a fun year.
Thank you.
Thank you.